Well, good morning to you, and thank you for this opportunity to elaborate and provide some nuances on the process of the Norwegian exploitation potentially of seabed minerals in Norwegian waters and continental shelf. Let me just start by saying that no exploitation activity has started. And the main reason to that is, as you have already said, the huge knowledge gaps which must be filled prior to any activity even being considered. So that is important. And the main reason to this is that we are currently in a current situation globally where the world needs to transition away from use of fossil energy systems and build up renewable energy systems. We have a recent declaration from the COP28 saying that the world needs to transition. And regardless the views on mining activities onshore and offshore, minerals will be a critical component in the new energy systems. So the main question is not whether we need the minerals or not. The important question is, can we produce them in a sustainable way? And that is the process which Norway has initiated now. We're far away from actual exploitation taking place. There are many steps which need to be gone through, and doing so with the leading research institutions will be the Norwegian process, because the most important thing is that we continue our tradition with sustainable ocean management, meaning that we balance sustainable use and conservation, because we take our reputation as a sustainable ocean nation seriously. And this is also the case when we are considering whether seabed mineral can have a potential in the zero emission future.
Minister, the phrase hard to abate comes out of a lot of sectors, and I would imagine deep sea mining is one of the hardest to abate, full stop. It would probably fail the criteria on scope 1 and scope 2. That seems fairly unarguable, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, you know, it's a very important question you raised there, and there are many considerations which need to be taken. And the most important thing is that we managed to collectively build a new energy system with a diversified type of energy providers, and also a system for distributing and use of the energy. And the sectors which are impossible to abate, or the emissions which are impossible to cut, we need to use carbon capture and storage, which is also something Norway, together with European partners, is currently engaging in and developing. So it's all about the processes which we are looking at together in parallel with the consideration of potential seabed mining activity. But I mean, we are still standing in a situation where the world needs to transition away from use of fossil fuels, needs to build up new energy systems, and despite our views on potential exploitation of seabed minerals will be needed. And the main thing is to find out, can it be done sustainably? And if so, how can it be done sustainably? And also, how much minerals will we use? Because it's also an important perspective in this. Can we recycle parts of it? Can we scale up research and development of substitutes to minerals? Can we produce more from sustainable mining onshore? All of these questions remain to be answered, but the process which Norway has initiated is to consider, can seabed minerals have a place on the path towards a zero emission future?
Minister, good morning to you then. There may not be dispute over the territory, but are you at all concerned over security issues in the area, particularly in future?
Well, the area which the Norwegian government has now in the process of opening is in the Norwegian waters and Norwegian continental shelf. So no, there is no dispute about the territory in itself.
Yeah, but for future, are you worried at all? I mean, when one takes a look at Central Africa, for example, the exploration of such minerals has created a lot of infighting. Do you expect a similar notion, and how do you assess those risks?
That's a very good question. And it's also part of the larger consideration in this. The world as a whole needs to transition away from use of fossil fuels, and some countries are developing new energy systems, and it's in our collective interest that the new energy systems which are built up are have a place on the path towards this low emission, zero emission future. And the main point there is that can we provide what is needed for the new energy systems from natural resources in a way which does not do too much irreversible harm to marine environment and environment also for nature on land, at the same time as we continue to cut emission and transition away from using a fossil fuel. So in this way, it is important that the precautionary knowledge-based approach, which Norway will use for the potential exploitation of seabed minerals in our waters and continental shelf, perhaps can be an example for other countries considering that. But let me come back to my first point. We are standing in a point right now where we have begun to consider this, and our honesty and openness about the lack of knowledge, I think, is something worth for other countries considering this also to take seriously.
Yeah, Minister.